Today, I want to talk about what hospice is and what it is not. And then I'll share a story of a patient that I worked with many years ago at the beginning of my career that I believe is an excellent example of the epitome of what hospice can do for patients who have life-limiting illness. So first I'll describe what hospice is, then I'll describe what it's not, then I'll share that story. I'm Nancy Lee, I'm a nurse practitioner. I've spent the last 25 years of my career working as a nurse or a nurse practitioner, caring for patients who are at or near end of life. So let's jump in. What is hospice? Most people have heard of hospice care. I'd be concerned if you have not. You've been living under a rock somewhere. It is a form of healthcare designed to deliver care in a holistic way to patients and their families who have life-limiting illness with a prognosis of 6 months or less to live if the patient does not pursue aggressive medical care or there is no medical or curative care available to the patient. It's a holistic approach, meaning it includes caring for the person, body, mind, and spirit. It's made up of a team of nurses, nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, nursing aides, social workers, spiritual counselors or chaplains, physicians, and a medical director oversees the team that is assigned to each patient. Now, I'd like to talk about what hospice is not, because this really gets under my skin. And I want to say this really firmly. Hospice care is not designed to hasten death. I have heard over the years of my involvement with this population, people who will say, oh, we're not doing hospice. My cousin, aunt, grandfather, friend went to a hospice and they just gave them morphine till they died. That is not what happened. And it's likely that if that is your experience and your story, that you did not understand the management that is required through the use of morphine, that is the #1 drug of choice for the relief of shortness of breath in the dying patient. So please stop telling that story. Or if that was your experience and you really believe that, that should be investigated. That's all I'm saying. That is not what hospice is. Hospice is designed to promote quality of life through whatever means necessary. And I'm about to share a really inspiring story of a patient that I cared for many years ago. First part of my career working with this population, I was a home hospice nurse. I worked in the community. I went from home to home and saw patients, made sure they had everything they needed to be comfortable, made sure that they felt supported, made sure that the whole team that worked together on a patient, that we all communicated with each other, because that provides the most comprehensive and quality care when you work together with a team. So I'm not going to use this patient's real name, of course, but just for terms of the story, let's call her Miss Betty. So Miss Betty was in her late 60s, diagnosed with advanced stage 4 lung cancer. She had been hospitalized for quite some time and come home onto home hospice, and I was assigned as her primary case manager. Her life expectancy was weeks to months. She was dependent on oxygen to breathe. She had tubes inserted into each lung that every 2 or 3 days I would drain the fluid that accumulated in her lungs to help her breathe easier. I was with her a couple of weeks when she says to me, there's something, a bucket list kind of thing that she wants to do before the end of her life, which consisted of a road trip. A road trip up the coast, the eastern seaboard, starting with Savannah, Georgia, all the way to Maine. She had never traveled that part of the country, and she wanted to do that before she died. Now, this was really, she did not have the physical capacity to do this. She could only walk across the room and have to stop and rest. So we discussed it at length. It was clear that she was not going to give in. We did compromise on having the trip go. First of all, this was in metropolitan Atlanta, Georgia. So she was going to drive from the little city she lived in down to Savannah, Georgia, and then make her way up the eastern seaboard. So we agreed that we would facilitate her doing this if she would agree to go to South Carolina, the coast of South Carolina, and then make her way back. So she agreed to that. Her daughter agreed to help her. So they rented a van. Our team made sure that the van was outfitted. I still can't believe that we did this, but anyway, I did not think this lady would survive the trip. I just didn't think. And I had that conversation with her, and I said, I'm concerned that you will die during this trip. She didn't care. She wanted to try. So we made it happen. Once she rented the van, we outfitted the van with a oxygen concentrator. Back then, this was many years ago, you know, it would plug into the cigarette lighter. I don't think cars have cigarette lighters anymore, but it would plug into the cigarette lighter so it could run on the battery of the car while they were traveling. And then at night, when they would stop at a hotel, we provided her with a portable oxygen concentrator she could plug into the wall. And in case either one of these apparatuses malfunctioned, we supplied a multitude of portable oxygen tanks that didn't require electricity and could be run manually. In addition to this, I taught her daughter how to drain her Pleurex drains every 2 to 3 days, or more often if she needed it. This patient was on morphine in small dosages around the clock to help with her breathlessness. So we made sure she had plenty of that to make this journey. The social worker involved in this case got in touch with hospices in the cities that she was going to be spending the night in, and made sure that the patient had, and her daughter had, the contact information for these hospices along the way in case something went wrong, and in case she needed assistance. And she set out on her journey. Well, she made it to Savannah, Georgia, and she turned around and came back, recognizing that she, in fact, was too ill to be trying to make this kind of journey. But when she got back, there was this light in her eyes that she had gotten to try to do this, that she had been able to even make this road trip. It was like 4 or 5 hours from where her home was. And she spent the night in Savannah and then made her way back. And it just brought her so much joy and so much peace, and I think some sort of completion for her. She died about a week later. That is what hospice is designed to do. Hospice is a team of professionals, multidisciplinary professionals that work together to make sure that people live out whatever time they have left to the best of their ability, honoring their wishes, trying to make things possible for them to achieve whatever it is that they'd like to achieve in the time that they have left. So, yeah, if you have some story about hospice killed your friend, relative, please stop telling that story. Please stop doing that. It's not accurate. It's not true. It's your perception of what happened, because that is not what hospice does. I would appreciate it if you would leave any stories that you have related to someone you may know that was on hospice that in fact had a similar experience, or any questions that you may have. I'm happy. I didn't really go into a lot of detail about hospice care, but I'm happy to do that. I will leave my email in the description box below. If you'd like to, you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to discuss your situation one-on-one. The last thing I'd like to say is there's evidence and research to show that the sooner a patient enrolls in hospice who has a life-limiting illness, the longer they live. And I believe it's because quality of life is really what life is about. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.